Stay home, save lives. That's the idea behind Governor Pritzker's executive order that was issued on March 20th of this year. In that order, it is decreed that all Illinois citizens remain in their home and avoid contact with others unless they need to accomplish some essential function, like buying groceries or exercising or working in some limited essential capacity. Now, in a free society, we're going to ask ourselves certain questions like, where does the state get such broad authority? How is this law going to be enforced? Is this all constitutional? The way it's been asked to me by my friends and colleagues and clients, can I be arrested for violating the stay-at-home order? Well, the beginning of our analysis really starts with state police powers. And those are the powers that are endowed to each and every state the authority to enact and enforce laws that are designed to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizenry. It's all very basic social contract theory, right? We give up certain liberties so that we're not posing an unreasonable risk of harm to others. I can't, for example, drive my car 100 miles an hour down a residential road. I might want to do that, but I have to relinquish my freedom to do that, because if I did, it would just be posing too high of a risk to my fellow citizens. And the state has the authority to enact a law preventing me from doing that. And if they catch me doing it, they could arrest me, and they could punish me, and they will. Now, the breadth of police powers are really expanded during times of crisis. In Illinois, we have the Illinois Emergency Management Agency Act. And under that act, once the governor declares a certain area of the state, in this case the whole state, a disaster area, the executive really becomes endowed with authority that is plenary to deal with the crisis, to try and ensure to the best of the executive's ability the health, safety, and welfare of everyone in that area. And under the act, a novel virus, like the coronavirus, is indeed considered a disaster. And on March 9th of 2020, that's exactly what Governor Pritzker did. He declared all of Illinois a disaster area. Now, Section 7 of the Illinois Emergency Management Act gives the governor the authority to control the movement of persons within the disaster area, the occupancy of premises. He can control the sale of commercial goods like food. Obviously, the governor's powers are not without limit. They're not absolute. I mean, we have certain fundamental rights. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, the right to pursue life, liberty, and property. These are rights articulated in the Illinois Constitution and the United States Constitution. Now, these rights are clearly being infringed in certain ways by the stay-at-home order. I mean, we're telling people that they can't work. Entire businesses have had to shut down. You can't visit loved ones. You can't have a huge party or protest even in the streets with hundreds of people. Now, any law which restricts these fundamental rights must pass what we call the strict scrutiny test. That is the highest level of constitutional scrutiny. Now, in order for a law to pass this test, it must be, 1, designed to further a compelling government interest. Number 2, it has to be narrowly tailored under the least restrictive means to accomplish that compelling government interest. Now, surprisingly, there's very little jurisprudence, very little law in this area because, hey, pandemics are quite rare. But we can look to a very famous case from 1905, the case of Jacobson v. Massachusetts. Now, in that case, smallpox was devastating communities in American life, and there was mandatory vaccination in the state of Massachusetts. It was the government's effort to try and stop the spread of this horrible disease. Now, there's a very famous opinion, and it was authored by Justice Marshall Harlan. Justice Harlan, often called the Great Dissenter, because in cases where the government was upholding laws that were infringing upon civil liberties and fundamental rights, Justice Harlan always stood his ground. He was very firm. He was the lone dissenter in the Plessy v. Ferguson trial. That's the case, came before the Supreme Court that said separate but equal. Justice Harlan said no. Whatever you may think about other races, they're Americans, they're human beings like anyone else, and you have to respect their rights as you would respect your own. So he was a very great and very famous judge. And what he said in the smallpox case, where there was forced inoculation by a state, he said this quote, In every well-ordered society, the rights of the individual in respect of their liberties may at times, under the pressures of great danger, be subject to certain restraint, to be enforced by reasonable regulations as the safety of the general public may demand. Now, today, our top scientists are telling us that, in fact, sheltering in place may be the only defense that right now we have against the spread of the coronavirus. If we're going to save lives, we need to have people, unless they're accomplishing essential functions, to avoid contact with others and to stay at home. So clearly it would seem the law is in fact constitutional. But how is it going to be enforced? Well, many of the state stay-at-home orders have sentencing provisions right in the body of the text, but Governor Pritzker didn't do that. Now, the Illinois State Police have said, well, they're going to do a graduated enforcement. At first, they're just going to warn people, educate them about the importance of the stay-at-home order. Then they might move on to issuing citations, like fines, for example, that can be challenged in a due process hearing. They're going to remind the citizens and business owners that there are potential civil consequences. You could be fined for putting people at risk if you end up harming them. Also, there could be administrative costs. So if you require a business license or permit, that might be denied when you go to renew if you're found in violation of this order. Local law enforcement, they can rely on their municipal codes, like Chicago Police, for example. There are several places in the Chicago Municipal Code that give the authority of local government to fine citizens up to $500 for disobeying a dispersal order from police or a health official. You could be charged with a Class A misdemeanor under several theories. Now, a Class A misdemeanor is punishable by up to 1 year in jail, 2 years of probation, $2,500 in fines. So a Class A misdemeanor, that's a serious offense. It's on your permanent criminal history record. Could be charged with a Class A for trespass on state property if you're found in a state park that's been shut down. You could be charged with, as Governor Pritzker said, reckless conduct. That's a Class A misdemeanor. You could also be charged with resisting or obstructing a peace officer if you refuse a lawful dispersal order, for example. Now, resisting or obstructing, that carries a mandatory minimum 2 days jail. So these are serious offenses that you could be arrested and charged with. But yes, you do have rights. There are many exceptions to the state stay-at-home order that are listed right in the executive order itself. There are common law theories of defense that we can raise on your behalf. The defense of necessity, for example. So if you leave the house because you're avoiding an abusive situation, for example, well, obviously, no, you shouldn't be charged with a crime. If you or anyone that you know has been cited, warned, threatened with, or arrested with violating the state stay-at-home order or any of the related laws, contact a competent, skilled defense attorney immediately. Obey all demands, deny requests, don't make statements, don't sign anything. Call an attorney. We will zealously represent you. These are serious things what we're talking about, like having a permanent criminal record, for example. You don't want that. And an experienced, dedicated, passionate criminal defense attorney like myself here at Illinois Advocates can help you to get the best possible legal resolution. For a more in-depth discussion about all of these issues, we'll link in the description box to an article that I've written that discusses all of these issues at length. Please contact us if you have any questions or concerns. Our number here at Illinois Advocates is 312-818-6700. You will find us at the top floor of the Chicago Temple building, right across the street from the Daily Center, catty-corner from the Chicago City Hall. Again, that is Illinois Advocates, LLC. My name is Attorney Bradley Fuller, and you can reach me at 312-818-6700. Thank you very much.